Right, time for UFC 134 predictions. Before I say that, if you do see a few flies buzzing around, then you'll have to excuse me. I'm afraid the courtyard in the outside there is a little bit sort of fly infested. But it's simply too hot to have the window closed. So the window's open, the flies are in, but don't worry. When it goes dark, for some reason they all go back from whence they came. So there we are. I just mentioned that because I happened to notice that in some of my other videos, my newish camera is so good it sort of picks up flies flying around in the background. Anyway, onwards. I'm going to do the main event first, and then I'm going to go back to the bottom of the card and work up. Anderson Silva versus Yushin Okami. When you look at these people and their record, you would be surprised to know that their records are almost the same. Of course, that doesn't mean anything, and Anderson Silva is simply, well, Yushin Okami stands no chance, unless there is some terrible fluke. And flukes do happen. I mean, if you look at Anderson Silva and how long he's reigned, you will say that, you know, the longer he goes on for, the statistic, the more the statistics stack up against him, merely on a statistical basis. He has to lose one every so often. But Yushin Okami, under normal circumstances, doesn't stand a chance. I'm going to say that I think Anderson Silva will play ball as well. If he plays ball, Yushin Okami will be done in the first. If he doesn't play ball, well, who knows? Yushin Okami may lose by decision. That depends on where Anderson Silva's head is. Right, Yves Jabouin and Ian Loveland. Ian Loveland is from Team Quest, record of 14-8. Wins usually by TKO and submission, loses usually by submission. Yves Jabouin is 15-7. He's got 11 TKO victories. His background is win, loss, loss, win, loss. This is why I'm left with a little bit of conundrum as to who to pick here, because I feel that they're quite similar in terms of strengths and weaknesses. I just don't know if Yves Jabouin has possibly faced better calibres. Do you know, I'm going to go for Ian Loveland, but I don't know how, and that's more of a guess than anything, that one, to be honest. I should be lucky if that one works out, but there we are. The next fight is Yuri Alcantara and Felipe Arantes. This card is taking place in Latin America, and this is like the Latin American token card, because I don't think either of these two, Yuri might have been around once, if I remember rightly. He may have been around once, but this is really the sort of token Brazilian fight, if you like. 25-3 for Yuri. That includes 11 TKO victories and 12 submission victories. He is on an 11-fight win streak, which only goes back, in fact, to 2009. So he's had 11 fights in the last sort of 3 years, which is not bad. Felipe is almost the same in terms of having fought an awful lot in the last couple of years. He's extremely well-rounded in victories, in defeats. It doesn't matter. He seems to be very capable in all areas, and his record is 13-3. You can't ignore an 11-fight win streak, so I'm going to go for Yuri on this, but because I don't really know either player here, again, that one's not, you know, who knows. Right, Rafael Asuncayo and Johnny Eduardo. Johnny Eduardo is known in Shuto, but I can't see where he has fought calibers in that organisation. 25-8 with 13 submission victories. He also has 7 submission losses. This is good for Rafael Asuncayo because he is a submission expert. I think he's probably faced more calibers. Hasn't necessarily won against all of them, I think he got submitted by Uriah Faber, and I'm thinking Johnny Eduardo probably isn't quite as good as Uriah Faber at that point in time. So I don't think that Rafael Asuncao is going to get submitted. His record's not brilliant, win, loss, loss, win, loss, but I'm going to go for him by win here. I might go for a decision victory though there. Paulo Thiago is fighting David Mitchell. David Mitchell is 11-1 and good at submissions, but Paulo Thiago, who is also good at submissions, has never been finished. He is coming off 2 losses in a row, but with a record of 13-3, that's actually not too bad at all, is it? I'm going to say that this may be a squash match. It depends just how good David Mitchell is, but putting up a submission guy against somebody who is good at submissions and has never been submitted himself, I think Paulo Thiago will probably win. I'll go for a bar submission in the second. Rusimar Palhares is fighting Dan Miller. Dan Miller is Jim Miller's brother, who hasn't done quite as well and still somehow manages to stay in the organisation. This is how bad his record has been. Win, loss, 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 win, win, loss. And those were 2 reasonable calibres, but even so, I don't see why they keep Dan Miller in the organisation. I can understand why they do it with some people, but Dan Miller is a bit of I don't know. Anyway, his record is 13-5 and he's a submission artist who's never been finished. Rusimar Palhares is also a submission artist, but this is where it gets interesting, because Rusimar tends to go for quite unorthodox submissions, usually leg locks and below, so you're talking heel hooks, stuff like that. I think Rusimar Palhares will win here, and I think it'll be a heel hook. I'll go for heel hook, I'll go for it in the first, and perhaps they will let Dan Miller go then, I don't know. Thiago Tavares is facing Spencer Fisher. Spencer Fisher, you'll know, has a background with MFS. He wins TKO and submission, although recently I don't think he has done anything apart from decision victories and decision losses, really, in the last 2 or 3 years. And the background shows win, loss, loss, win, loss. Thiago Tavares, he's not much better. Win, loss, loss, win, draw, win, loss. He is a submission artist that has never been submitted. If I was Spencer Fisher, I would try and keep this on the feet to win. And I would in the past have said Spencer Fisher would have no problem here. I actually err towards Thiago Tavares on this one. I'm going to go for a decision victory for Thiago Tavares there. And goodness knows what will become of Spencer Fisher if he loses this one as well. Lewis Kane, 11-3, likes TKO victories but has a record of win, loss, loss, win. Not brilliant. Is fighting Stanislav Nedkov, who just must be Russian with a name like that. He's got a perfect record of 11. He's also very, very well rounded indeed. And his wins, it's not a hollow record. He's got wins over Kevin Vanderman and Travis Wolff. So there we are. Do I still go for... I don't know though. I don't know. Ross Pearson and Edson Barboza. Now, wasn't Barboza the name of the captain in the first Pirates of the Caribbean? I just have a feeling it was. For some reason, that always makes me smile when I read his name. Never mind. Perfect record of 8, but his only calibre in that is a win by decision over Anthony Nojo Kwani. He's fighting Ross Pearson, who is a British fighter and shouldn't have much problem, I don't think, here. So I'll go for Ross Pearson. I might go for TKO in the third. Brendan Schaub, 8-1, TKO, and he's on a 4-fight win streak. is fighting Nogueira, as in Big Nog, who's got a record of 32-6. He has 20 submission victories, 10 decision victories, I believe, and has fought all and sundry. But in the last 2 of his matches, recently he's not done very well, and he has lost 2 of his recent matches by TKO, which kind of benefits Brendan Schaub a little bit, who's going in saying that he wants to get a knockout victory. However, one of those was to Cain Velasquez, who is now the sort of champion of that division, and one of them was to Frank Mir when he wasn't very well. So I'm still going to favour Big Nog here, but I might go for decision, and I think that could be a fight to look out for. That could be an exciting one. The last fight is Mauricio Rua and Forrest Griffin. Mauricio Rua and Forrest Griffin have met before, and it was when Rua was quite new to the organisation, and like a lot of people from the Orient when he'd moved over, his first few fights weren't very good. He lost to Forrest Griffin by RNC at that point. He did, of course, go on later to win the title. Some of us think he actually managed to defend as well, depending on how legitimate you think his first match with Lyoto Machida was. Anyway, he's usually a TKO expert. He's got 16 of his 19 wins that way. Forrest Griffin is the best thing to come out of TUF, and really he's beginning to end up being the only good thing coming out of TUF until sort of Fox, I think, revamped the situation there. He at the moment is with Extreme Couture, I believe. His record: win, loss, loss, win, win. So it's not too bad. Do you know, I favour Rua if he has properly trained for this fight. I might go for decision, only because Forrest Griffin is quite tough to finish. So I'm going to go for Mauricio Rua here in the rematch, but I'll go for it by decision. And those are my predictions for UFC 134. We go so quickly through them now that I forget the number if I don't have it written down.